Welcome to the Daily Telegraph NRL podcast. It's round 5. Adam Mobbs here, joined by Phil Rothfield, Michael Carianis. Following, boys, what was a big week last weekend of blowouts, big scores, a couple of injuries, some season or career-ending ones, wasn't it? Jake Friend has pulled the pin. The Bulldogs still can't score a point. And, of course, sad news this week. We said goodbye to one of rugby league's greats with the sad passing of Tommy Raudonikis. Buzz, pretty emotional week in rugby league.
Yeah, huge week, Mobsy, and to Tommy's family and friends, our condolences. It's been so well covered. I thought Dean Bulldog Ritchie did a great job in the paper today with his coverage and the stories from a lot of the people who were closest to Tommy over a long period of time. You know what? I can't recall a reaction to a death in rugby league. You know, we sadly we lost Arthur Beats and we lost Jack Gibson and all those years back. Even, you know, great characters Tommy used to play alongside, like John Dallas Donnelly, and you know we've lost some great people, but I've never ever seen a reaction like this, and the sensational stories that went along with his career. The sad part for me is that we'll never, ever see anyone else anything like him because of the PC mob who find his behaviour and his, just everything about Tommy is unacceptable in the, with mobile phones and, the cameras and things like that. But just an incredible man. And you know what? The amazing thing about the reaction is not because he was the greatest halfback or the greatest coach we ever saw. He's just the greatest character in the history of the game. And, I had some really nice text messages from people who were hurting yesterday. There was one Bob Fulton sent. And Bob Fulton and Tommy Raudonikis in retirement were two complete opposites. Bozo had a very successful business career and coached at the highest levels, whereas Tommy was more the knockabout. But there was one thing Bozo said in this text. He said, if I was going to war, there's one bloke I'd want beside me in the trenches, because his instructions would be to come on, not go on. And it was just a really lovely thing from Bozo, and he said he was a fair dinkum bloke, a player's player, wore his heart in his sleeve, but the reaction's been incredible, Mick.
Yeah,
it really has.
And I think you touched on that, Buzzy, the reason the reaction's been so open and raw and is because he transcended generations, didn't he? As a player, firstly, and like I never saw him play, but you always heard about Tommy. Then it became when he was coaching Western Suburbs and smoking the ciggies in the coach's box, which is a vivid memory for me. And then there was Origin as Origin coach, and then it was during his media appearances. So he's always been a constant in different shapes throughout his life, and that's why I think so many people have great recollections of him. I never saw him play, but I have a great recollection of Tommy as the character.
I used to worry about his media appearances a bit. Like the old footy show, I had a whack at him a couple of times because they'd have Darryl Broman's section with all the kids, these 7, and they'd all be uploaded. And then they'd have this R-rated Tommy segment, And but Tommy coped with criticism better than anyone.
Yeah.
Look, at the Magpies, he wasn't their best coach. There was a lot of struggles out there, but he accepted it was part of the game, and he just got on with it and did his best in that mad mannerisms he's got. And he was a wonderful, wonderful character, and it is quite sad because no one in the modern game is anything like him.
No. And you think people who are just getting to the league in the last few years, looking back now, seeing the footage of Tommy and those West guys with the old Victor Magpies jerseys smacking each other in the face before the game, they'd think he's MAD, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, he was MAD. Not think, he was.
But even from there into going to Newtown and putting some steel into them for a while, and a cattle dog, that's iconic now. You're right, Buzz. You'll never see anything like that again, and it's a sad fact that the way things have gone the last few years at clubs, give you less and less access to these players. And there's only a few personalities left in the game that you actually get to see. I think, Mick, you mentioned this on the podcast recently that, everyone thought Adam Reynolds was a mute with no personality for the first couple of years because you couldn't get near him. And all his teammates spoke about how, even last week they were saying what an influence he is in the dressing room, and you just wouldn't know that. And guys like him and Cameron Munster are you're seeing few and far between of these guys, which is a shame. Because
I'm doing something in my column, Mobsy, on Sunday. I'm picking the greatest rugby league team of characters from 1 to 17. And Tommy's first chosen captain, but you just look at, Alfie Langer was a great character, Ronnie Rambo Gibbs, Lord Ted Goodwin, and it's a really fun thing to do. And Jack Gibson, the fur coat, will be coach.
Yeah.
I've got Greg Hutley as referee. I've got Barry Gomersall as a video ref, and I don't know how Barry would go in the bunk. We couldn't go any worse than his refereeing, but and what it does, it shows you that just the fun and games, that when in the non-professional era, it was a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And
it's 100% right. And I saw something, the one Bulldog Richie had in the column today about Steve Mortimer was a classic. I've heard it before, but just seeing it written down again, and how 1977 he was picked ahead of Tommy in the Origin team and got into the room first. So he spread all his stuff along the big double bed and left the single bed to Tommy. He went out, he came back, all his stuff was thrown out the window and Tommy's stuff was on the double bed. I mean, you wouldn't see stuff like this anymore, would you?
You go to HR. Wouldn't they? Could you imagine?
Oh,
imagine someone doing that now?
A nightmare to share a room with. It was his way, or But I was so pleased with the reaction yesterday, though, and it must be really, really comforting for his family and his nearest and dearest to see a reaction like that.
Good tributes from the Tigers this weekend. Wearing the Western Suburbs.
Oh, they are going to wear it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that'll be must-watch TV this weekend, won't it? That'll be just, and they're really good jerseys because you don't see enough of the black and white, predominantly black and white ones, and I know it's a throwback to an old era, but they're very iconic jerseys. So let's hope they can put the performance into match and do Tommy proud this weekend.
Yep, absolutely. It will be huge at Leichhardt, absolutely, even though it wasn't really his home ground, but it will be huge.
I think he still embraced West as much as anyone when they merged, didn't he? He still was keen to keep their identity.
Yeah, no, he was behind the merge, He probably didn't love the collapse of the Western Suburbs Magpies, but like Newtown, they went bust and they had to go and they couldn't compete. But, he never lost his love for rugby league. He loved the media gigs and he was hilarious on 2GB. He really, really was a genuine, funny man, but crazy, and Hadley was replaying something on his show today, 2GB, as I was driving in, and it was a few years after Cattle Dog, and he was saying that the Queensland halfback had one job. He had to bash Andrew Johns. It was Berrigan versus Johns in Origin.
Yeah.
And Chippy Frelingos said to him, Tommy, you can't do that. You might have done it 30 years ago. No, you got to bash him. I trained him. I called out Cattle Dog and Goddard knocked him out. He can't fight. But he, no one else could get away with this sort of talk on radio.
Yeah.
Or any form of media,
Yeah.
No,
and Fox did a great job. I loved NRL 360 last night with the old I'm the Fan and Biter and the Newtown Australian jersey. And
didn't they turn that around quickly? What a really nice tribute to him.
Vonnie Sampson's interview from last year.
Yep.
When he could only whisper. Yeah, good stuff.
And
that's the
sad
very
thing.
sad.
Yeah, the last couple of years were obviously tough on him, but kept fighting till the end. And far too young for Tommy. But I mean, hopefully his legacy will be remembered for a long time to come. So,
are we all in favour of Origin playing for the Beats and Radonica's Cup or Shield? Or
yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
Mick, you with us?
Yep, certainly.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it'd be. I love how cricket do that. With the Border Gavaskar and
Chapel
famous
Hadley and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I agree. Righto. Well, so that's going to be, where are we? We're talking Sunday afternoon, Tigers Cowboys. So, yeah, you'll get to see those colours, and I know everyone's going to be taking a moment's silence for Tommy this weekend. So big weekend of footy, guys. A lot to talk about, given the fact that we had so many blowouts last week. We had the $1.10 shots, most of them saluting fairly easily. A couple of games were probably devoid of contest for a long time. So hopefully this weekend we might see something a bit different. But Mick, something we were talking about before, the Bulldogs. Life doesn't get any easier for them. 3 games without scoring, and now they come up against the Melbourne Storm, who are as stingy in defence as any team over the last 10 years. What's going on?
It's a tough slog for Canterbury. Where Canterbury should be doing better than what they're doing now, quite obviously, right? But I don't think they were as high as some people thought they were going to be in pre-season. There was a lot of hype, and it's easy to get excited about Canterbury because they've had such a low base. They've signed a lot of players, and the fan base is just desperate for some success. They haven't won a comp since 2004. I was still at school last time Canterbury won a comp. Well, that's
how young you are.
Generations
Yeah, but they're
ago.
hard things to win, Mick. They're hard things to win.
Yeah, but is that that's
Well, they were in the grand final, 14?
they were in a couple of grand. They've been in a couple of grand finals.
They've had a
since.
couple of lean years.
Yeah.
And you know what they've done? They've got a new chairman, they've got a new chief executive,
Yeah.
and they've got a new coach. And I've never seen an overhaul like that with the 3 main positions at the club in the space of 6 months.
Yeah.
Now what they need, and their fans need, is patience.
Mm.
The reason all these great clubs at the moment have done well is they haven't panicked and gone out, and even Ricky Stewart at Canberra, he had a couple of terrible years when he first got there, but he came up with a scheme to bring English players out here. Now, what you got to do with Trent Barrett, I don't care if they don't score another try for 3 weeks, but you got to be patient with him. Yeah. We all know that you'd want him to do better. The big thing for them this weekend, they have 2 very experienced forwards coming back. Luke Thompson, Josh Jackson. Yeah. They got Dallin Watene-Zelezniak out the back as well. I think we'll see a vastly improved performance. They will not beat Storm, but it's more like that Elliott in the pack too, and Big Jack Hetherington. That's the sort of pack they were planning on, you know.
Mm. The issue for me with Canterbury, Buzz, is they've got worse since the start of the season. I thought I'd watched them in round 2 against Penrith, and for 38 minutes, they were good. They were competitive. They took it to Penrith. Penrith scored a fluky-ish try just before halftime, and the second half was a write-off. So I watched that game going, all right, they didn't win, but there was positive signs coming out of Belmore, but their last 2 weeks have been really poor.
But I've explained to you those 3 players coming back.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
You know, the Dogs more than anyone are going to miss quality players when they're injured or suspended or whatever, and I'm seriously expect a huge improvement, and I think they're under good management now.
Yeah, definitely. They're headed in the right direction off the field. My criticism, and it's not obviously of the guys that are there now, but when you look at their recruits, they recruited Nick Kotrick to play in the centres. Well, he's already on the wing. Trent Barrett recruited Corey Allen to play fullback. Well, he's been shifted from from the wing to the centres. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, he was recruited as a fullback, spent a lot of time on the wing. Now he's at fullback. So, to me, that shows a lack of strategy in some purchases, which is not lumped on the current administration.
I don't know if that's lack of strategy with Corey Allen anyway. I think they just need to get him fit. I think they need to get him ready to play 80 minutes full blown at fullback. Do you reckon?
I don't know.
That's what I saw. That's what I saw him, the failure in his game the last couple of weeks.
That would be my concern with Canterbury at the moment, is when they've bought all these blokes, what are their best positions?
Yeah.
And they've bought Josh Adokar. Is he going to play fullback? Is he playing on the wing?
He'll play on the wing.
And has to play.
Has to.
And they've got Matt Burton coming.
Yeah.
And there's mail that Brandon Smith's, seriously weighing it up, but they'll have to give Storm a play, and I don't know if they've got anyone there of real interest to Storm. But
there'll be
But you see what I mean, Mick? If they panic now and go out and play stupid money for some players,
which they have in the past,
the past, or do you give Trent Barrett 2 to 3 years? Yeah. Same with Manly, mate. Manly aren't going to fix their cap. They're not a patch-up job.
Yeah. I agree.
They're under repair.
Yeah.
All these clubs are, and fans have just got to be a bit more patient. They all want to win,
Yeah. It's been a perfect storm, I think, Buzz, because we've heard for a couple of years that they wouldn't be able to sign a marquee till 2021. They wouldn't be able to clear some cap space. They've done that. They made a couple of signings, and obviously on top of that, you've got the optimism for the fact that next year they get Matt Burton and they get Josh Adokar. They were hoping to get Burton early. That didn't happen. Showed good signs against Newcastle, fell away in the second half. The Panthers game wasn't great. They were good for a large chunk and then fell away. I mean, the Broncos game, they lost 24-0, but Adam Elliott, who I think's been one of their better players, he made that breakaway. If he didn't double pump that ball, the inside ball to Kyle Flanagan, that's 6-0 up. That might be a different game. I think they might go on and win that one. And
they still lost 24-0 to Brisbane.
I know, but I'm just saying that confidence is a thing when all this stuff's happening. And you saw last week against South Sydney, they went within a whisker of going across the line. They were held up, and that would have put them up. I'm not saying they would have won that game, but you put a little bit of confidence into a team that was, Buzz, you've mentioned the 3 players they were missing. And they've also Raymond Fatala-Mariner, Jeremy Marshall-King, Ockenbaugh, Christian Crichton's gone for the season.
Lachlan Lewis got a bang early.
Yeah, Lachie Lewis is gone,
you know.
and they can't cut a break because Nick Meaney, who I thought the week before looked really good, broken ribs. He's out for 4 to 6 now. So
now this Jackson Tapini, he's a good player.
Yeah,
He did the local boy, New South Wales under-18s captain, Australian schoolboy. Reminds me a bit of Cameron Murray.
Did a good job last week, didn't he? Having to come on after, a couple of minutes and play not 80 minutes, obviously, but come on after a couple of minutes and play out the game at dummy half. That's a big ask of a rookie.
But he looks like a good person. Private schoolboy, is he? I think he came from, I don't know, but he just looks a good person to have around a footy club.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just want to see...
He's not covered in tats, Mick. He's got a nice haircut. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You're not a fan of the sleeve tats?
No, I'm... Each and every one to their own.
What's on your dummy half down there, mate? What's in your calf there?
Oh, which I said I'd do, and I had to do it. Hey?
That's the Cronulla Sharks premiership tattoo from 2016.
You probably feel you never have to do it, Buzz. That's why.
Well,
Jeez, the digs.
But the Dogs...
Where are you working this week? Which sideline?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I just thought the...
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You're doing 4 shifts.
I am.
Oh, mate. You're a freak. You're too good.
I mean, I know I'm on holiday, so I can't really throw stones, but are you doing much for the paper in the next couple of days?
Plenty, don't worry.
No wonder you don't have a column lead yet.
Don't worry. But I just want to see improvement from the Dogs, and we haven't seen that in past 2 weeks. So they get a lot of players back, and you mentioned Brendan Smith. They desperately need a hooker. They're not going anywhere until they sign a decent number 9.
You know what? If Luke Thompson, we should move off the doggy, but Luke Thompson, if he aims up like he did in the UK Super League, alongside Hetherington, who's MAD, with Jackson at lock, those 3 in the middle, with Elliott on at one edge, you're talking a good forward pack.
Yeah, I agree.
You're talking good forward pack.
Yeah, I agree.
It will not be a blowout. There you go. It will not be a blowout.
I hope it's not. I hope Canterbury shows something.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'd declare it not going to be a blowout, given they're coming up against.
Sorry for having an opinion, Adam.
Led. Well, I'm just thinking of how good the Storm were last week in that.
All right,
Ryan
I went by 40. Does that sound better? What about this?
That Ryan Pappenhausen.
The director of rugby league's now telling me what I can and can't say. This is outrageous.
So I get it every day.
You go on these big power things on you're on leave.
Did you not watch the Melbourne Storm last week? I saw you got very excited on Twitter at Ryan Pappenhausen.
Yeah, well, he's so exciting.
Speaking of excitement, are you with me about Brett Morris yet, Buzzy?
What about?
Best winger we've seen?
No, he's not the best winger I've seen. Eric Graves is the best winger I've seen.
Is he close? Second?
He'd been the best 10 wingers.
Not the best 10.
He would.
He'd be higher than top 10. Top 5.
Oh, well, look, I'll tell you what.
Can you do some homework for us next week?
I'll come in with the top 10 wingers I've ever seen.
Perfect.
All right?
Yep. I've done mine. You can Google it.
Yeah, okay. I can't wait.
I didn't have Josh Adokar in the list.
Yeah. Are you talking to wingers? What do you guys think of Blake Ferguson last week? Good. Was he dropsies or stunning? Or?
At the game, I was there. It was unbelievable to watch him slip over.
Must have been his studs.
It had to have been. I did hit up the great Arthur Stanley at Stadium Australia.
Don't mention the playing surface.
He seemed to suggest that wasn't the surface.
So angry.
But I'll tell you what happened. He slipped that first time, then Paulo knocks it on. He dropped the next one.
Yeah.
The third one he catches off the kickoff, passes it to Junior Paulo. He then proceeds to fist pump in the air because the crowd have gone, whoa, when he So he's done the fist pump. Then he drops the next one. I was just, and as Brad Arthur says, he's got the memory of a goldfish. So he just forgets it. He's the guy that you could have drop a ball and forget it 5 seconds later.
I think he's just about the nearest thing in today's game to making my all-time great characters list. Yeah. When you look at current players, maybe Munster, that.
Yeah, Larrikin.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, it was
Will Parra sign him, Mobsy?
I don't.
I don't know. I think they've probably got other priorities.
Yeah, but what you guys have got to understand, particularly you, Michael, being the Brett Morris cheer squad leader. How old are the Morris boys? 34?
Yeah.
Blake's 31.
Yeah.
He's probably a better athlete. Oh, no, he sort of looks physically stronger, but I don't know.
Oh, if you're asking me who would I sign next year, you'd sign Blake Ferguson.
Right.
But he's not going to get the $500,000
I think
that
Sammy
he's on now.
Ayyub's knocking on some doors now.
Don't think he'll get the $500,000. And if I'm signing Blake Ferguson, it's a...
I'd sign him for 2 at $750K.
Total.
Yes.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
So you've got a couple of good young kids coming through now at Parramatta. Young Will Penasini, Hayes Dunster. Yeah. He's been waiting for his chance.
Yeah, see, I'm still with it, Nick.
Yes.
I'm hip.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Sean Russell, the young fullback there. So they've got a couple coming through. So I think they just want to be careful they don't put too many in front of these young kids that might send them off to other clubs, I guess. But then again, you've got no Michael Jennings there. You've got Murata Nuakore playing in the centres there for...
He's their best centre.
How good?
He's the best centre in the club.
Who, sorry?
Murata Nuakore from Parramatta. Like, Brad's desperate to get him back in the forward pack, Brad Arthur, but he's their best centre.
He was terrific. Yeah.
When's Wakar Blake back? Wanga Blake, whatever.
About another month.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Serious calf injury for Wanga. But Murata, he's sort of...
Oh.
And Isaiah Papali'i, I think we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, will be the buy of the year for what they've paid for him and the value they're getting out of him. And you slot him back into the forward pack as well with Murata back into that forward pack. It's a very good pack.
I've already found my number 2 winger behind Eric Growth, by the way, Josh Addo-Carr.
Already?
Yeah, I'm just looking through the program.
Brett Morris ahead of Josh Addo-Carr.
Sorry?
Brett Morris ahead of Josh Addo-Carr.
No, Josh Addo-Carr's a freak.
Mobsy, cast in vote.
Well, I'm moving on.
That means Mobsy's with me, scared of you.
Well, he's already pulled me up for... What would you pull me up on?
Hey? It doesn't matter. We'll just move on.
Predicting a close game on Saturday. You're not allowed.
Yeah, sorry for being excited. We might have an edge of your seat contest.
Thanks, Michael. I'm with Buzz. I'm with Addo-Carr all the way. What about Thursday night footy, Rabbitohs Broncos? The second last time Wayne Bennett will go up against the Broncos. They've got one game later in the year, but this is the last time.
Are you ruling him out of coaching again next year?
I'm ruling him out of the finals.
Or Brisbane, yeah.
Well, Peter Bedell had him going home.
Yeah.
So he will coach against the Broncos again, but it'll be the second Brisbane franchise.
Well, he won't be coaching next year.
Potentially not. No, you
in
never know with Wayne.
2023 maybe.
You never know.
No, he's going home. He's going home. Bedell quoted him saying it. He did.
I know, I read
direct
it.
quote.
Yeah.
He's on fire this year, Bedell. He loves story. You should see the text messages I get from him. He loves it.
Has Wayne never backflipped before, Buzz?
Yes.
If he gets a nice Sydney job,
Bondi Benny.
That's very controversial.
Are you telling me that if Wayne Bennett gets a nice job at a Sydney club, he'd say no?
Where's he going to go?
I don't think he's going to go anywhere. But I'm just saying, if a door opens...
No, I think Bedell's spot on, and it was mail I was getting from people in Brisbane that he wants to go home and spend more time with his kids.
Yeah.
And,
Well, hopefully he does align himself with the new team. I think it'd be a boost for the 17th franchise
we'd
for
lose
sure.
a great feud if he went home to the Broncos and patched it up. We can't have that.
No. That's why he should go head-to-head with them, with the new team.
Absolutely. Interesting game tonight. I'm not sure
and
whether...
he should take Adam Reynolds with him.
Well, there you go. In 2 years' time or...
sign 1 more year deal, 1 year deal at South. Dan Gagai 1 year deal at South, and then they all go.
Take him 2-year deals with the new club, eh?
Exactly.
That's not bad.
You with me?
Yeah.
Hearing
Hasn't
any-
been your best podcast, though. There's something wrong. It hasn't been. I reckon you've been looking at that ABC roster all week and thinking, hey,
I'm looking at a
ka-ching.
blank. Ka-ching! It's the blank
It
column
hasn't
lead.
been your best
It's the blank
podcast.
column lead that
I'm
I've
trying
got.
to work out. Oh, yeah, that's it. You're
Well,
under
they say
pressure, aren't you?
great bands that don't put out great albums once they're famous. It's
Yeah,
not
right.
The same with once you've got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday paycheck
I tell
coming
you what
from
I'm
the
going to do
public
this weekend. I
broadcaster.
tell you what I'm going to do.
Oh, here we
I'm
go.
going to listen to the public broadcaster this week.
Every game?
And I'm going to come in here and critique your performance next Thursday. And I'm going to give you a mark out of 10.
For each game, or just
No,
overall?
I'm not going to. Sorry, some of us are putting a paper out. I will choose a game. I will critique your performance, give you a rating out of 10, strengths, weaknesses, and I will reveal all on this podcast next week.
Can you let me know which game, or is it just going to be like a mystery shopper?
Mystery shopper.
Just don't know which one.
Yeah.
I don't want you firing all your bullets in one game. That's not good for the public listeners. So, yeah. Right.
We should even, we'll talk to our technical people and play a bit of Mick on
we
this
can't- yeah.
podcast.
Well, there you can play a bit of me
Good
now. Here I am.
exposure, mate. Good
Ah,
exposure.
Take it all. I'll take it all.
Right, let's move on.
Yeah.
So, Mick, you had this story today, and Buzz, obviously, I know that you'd have some thoughts on this. Jake Friend's retirement after numerous head knocks. We thought this is the way it was going to go. It's always sad when it's finally announced because, geez, I tell you what, this guy's had a career, and from where he could be to, when things were going by the wayside all those years ago, Buzz, to carve out the career and gain the respect that he had at a club like the Roosters. A lot of respect for him.
Oh, absolutely. He's my saint every day of the week on Sunday. Jake Friend, sacked 2009. Really, really emotional Roosters board meeting. He was a kid, and Nick Politis broke down and cried. Remember Mark McGuinness used to be on their board, former David Jones CEO? He cried. It was really, really emotional for them to tear up a contract of a player they loved. They were so fond of him. So anyway, I went to Noosa that following weekend and had lunch with him and visited his home, and he saw, his mum and dad and how proud they were with his Queensland jerseys on the wall, and he was a bad kid back then, but look, we went to lunch and he had a 21st birthday on that night, and I thought, oh no, he's going to get and I thought he was long odds on never to make it back. I really did. He was one of those bad kids. Yeah. But what he did is one of the most stirring and most inspirational stories. I think the NRL have to hire him and put him in welfare straight away to tell his story to every young kid in the game. The Roosters didn't open the door to let him back before they were absolutely convinced he was ready. And he got a job round the corner from where we're doing this in a sandwich shop. And I used to go down and say good day to him. He was out the back washing dishes or chopping up lettuce, making tabbouleh. He dead set worked hard, but the players stayed. I remember on his birthday, the players brought a cake down. All these people, there was a big queue trying to get a sandwich lunch, and the Roosters were lighting up cake, singing happy birthday to him,
Yeah.
And then, he got him with a better crowd, and the Roosters gradually brought good people into the club, and the bad influences were no longer there, and he became a leader and a captain. Yeah. And after having his contract torn up, he won 3 titles. Yeah. Yeah. And he was so friggin' tough as a footballer. That's what I loved about him. There's been players and hookers with a lot more flair than him. Yeah. And I thought, what a way to finish up being voted Queensland's Players' Player last year, because he played his entire career behind Cameron Smith. Yeah. And I am so happy. He's a dad now. He's got a couple of good businesses, and he is one of the great comeback stories.
And that's, you get the narcs out there, the critics who say, get rid of players, they're bad eggs, don't let them back in the game. He's the reason that you give people second chances. 264 NRL games. he played Origin, he represented his country, he won titles, he played All-Stars, and he goes out with the blessings of a club, like it or not, with the Roosters' success. If you're respected in that organisation, you know you've done something right.
What do you reckon, Mick?
Yeah, I agree. He's a guy that would make 50 to 60 tackles every game, put his body on the line, and play, 80 minutes most seasons. There was a time where he didn't miss a minute of footy. So he's given great service to the club. He's given his all to the club, and it's a sad way to see him go out, but he's going to be remembered fondly. And you touched on Origin, Buzz. How good was it to see him finally get that Origin jersey?
Yeah.
He's been close for so long.
Mate, he had to knock out Harry Grant to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did. He had to. Would have been easy for old Wayne to whack Harry in.
Yeah.
But he showed him so much respect.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think, like Tommy was remembered as a great character, Jake Friend's going to be remembered across the game as the best comeback story there is, and just unbelievable toughness.
Yeah.
And, I wish him a happy retirement, I sure, because he's got a great lady and a beautiful new bub.
The boys and I will be back with more footy gibber right after this break. How do the Roosters go with Freddie Lussick at number 9 there? It's another injury for the Roosters. Still waiting for Sam Verrills. We know he had that injury setback. He's going to be a few weeks away yet. Although they did what they keep on doing, the Roosters. They won again last weekend. And Brett Morris, Mick's man, continuing to impress. They're a good side, aren't they? Even with all that, you wouldn't win a game if you're half the other teams in the comp losing the quality of players.
Look, I know
they
you
did.
got the shits when I had another tip before. I'm allowed to use that word. I'm tipping an ambush at the cricket ground. I'm tipping my Sharks to beat them.
You're tipping the Sharkies.
I am. I think Sam Walker's second game in might, I think Cronulla have had a week to look at a tape of him, and normally you'd back Walker over Townsend, but Townsend had one of the best games of his career last weekend.
I gave him 3 points, Buzz, in the ABC Player
Did
of the Year
you?
points.
So, mate, he deserved them too. Who got the Dally M said? They agree with you?
Yeah, Chad got 3, yeah.
Mobsy, I like this Cronulla side.
Yeah.
They beat Canberra a couple of weeks ago if Chad had kicked.
They just need a scout, Buzzy, don't they? And then once they get that monkey off their back, I think you'll see them really go deep into this season. They need that win. They're desperate to beat.
Ramian makes them stronger. I tell you, it's been Connor Tracy's going enormous.
Buzz, his position might be in the centres. He looks really good when he plays there.
He's just such a valuable 14.
Yeah, definitely. But he looked like threatening every time he got the ball. Even his yardage carries were great. I would have been tempted potentially to leave him there and shift Josh Dugan onto the wing.
Yeah. Look, and Mobs, the thing is, you're going to back Tedesco every day of the week over Will Kennedy. But Will Kennedy's been one of the nicest, stories this year and his input. And you know what? I tried, and I don't have my notebook here, but I tried to rate the top fullbacks the other day. Had Tedesco 1, I had Pappenhausen 2, I had Latrell 3. Who else? There's Ponga, there's Gutherson I had up high, and there's one more.
Tommy
Roger, right?
Yep.
And Will Kennedy isn't in that league.
No.
There's a second division, and he's up the top of that second division.
On form, he'd definitely.
I've never seen nearer fullbacks like this ever.
It's crazy, isn't it? And you're leaving guys out like Charles Nickel-Clockstar, AJ Brimson.
Yeah.
There's the other one, yeah.
There's some great guys.
And look,
Dane
Valentine
Laurie.
Holmes, $1 million fullback at the Cowboys. Dane Laurie's kicking on, AJ Brimson's, you said, Ponga, Pappenhausen. It's just incredible.
Be interesting where you'd rate Val. I wouldn't have him in the top 10 at the moment.
Well, that's the story. I would have had him 14th, 15th or 16th.
Yeah. That's fair.
Back to your Sharkies briefly. Teague Wilton. Wow. Just come out of the ground. I think he's been very impressive for mine.
Nephew of the coach.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got a lot of raps on him as well and can play big minutes, good work rate.
This is why I'm surprised Cronulla and John Morris, the way he's bringing kids like him through. And you've seen the development of Toby Rudolph in the last couple of years, and
What's going on there,
you
Buzzy?
see Blake Brayley coming through. You see Braden Hammond Ueli, who was a nobody. You see Matt Moylan play good football for him now. You see Dugan having a whack every single week, you know?
Yeah.
Kennedy come through, the young wingers. Ronaldo, you know, I don't know what's going on there, Mick.
Why haven't they re-signed him?
Because I think there's personality clash there. But I'm going to do a bit of homework on it over the weekend, and I'll report back next week. You know, because it's becoming an emotional issue at the Shire.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, it looks like a bizarre decision not to extend.
Well, their line is that he hasn't, but like you said, haven't beaten the top 8 side.
Which is a fair point.
But he keeps making the top 8.
Exactly, yeah.
What else we got, Mobsy?
Well, I want to bring up something that Dave Riccio had in the paper today, that Andrew Abdo, the NRL boss, presented new data to all 16 clubs showing there have been fewer injuries after 4 rounds compared to the same time last year, which kind of puts a little...
No, that's...
No, stats don't work for you, Buzz?
They don't.
No?
They don't.
I wish we had a camera on Buzz's face. When
Why?
You were like, nah.
Oh, but this is PR stuff. Ben Hunt was right the other day, what he said. Maybe a little bit over the top. But, Mobsy, last year, you can't compare figures this year to last year, because last year they had an off-season, came back for 2 weeks, 8 weeks off, then played again.
Fair point.
So they weren't ready when they came back. They had a really quick, they were in lockdown. They didn't have the physios, the medical access that they would normally have. So I think it's wrong. The 3-year average there, look at that compared to this year. There are a lot more injuries this year than there were on a 3-year average, correct?
3-year average 69 total, 2021 62.
So you're saying, can I just have a look
pinch
at
that and
list?
Nice
There
to
was
do
a
your research
couple of
coming into this
little
one.
concerning things.
Wasn't on the run sheet.
Jake Friend and injuries.
Well,
it was
what
there.
I noticed was there'd been,
Oh, yeah.
in the 3-year average,
Thanks for
Got to
coming.
read the run.
a 25% increase in concussions
Correct.
on the 3-year average.
Diagnosed concussions, yep.
I think
Ankle injuries, there's been a 40% increase. And what I was concerned about this list is that there was no knee injury here, Mobsy. And I do know that knee injuries doubled last year. So I don't know why, you know, with all the ACLs and stuff we've had there. And look, I'm not attacking the credibility of the story at all, because Dave Riccio has done a very good job with it. But I think there's a bit of NRL spin in here.
Oh, there's no doubt there's NRL. There are NRL
Did
spin
you
there, but
just
just
see
on
my
the,
point, though, Mobsy?
I do.
on the concussions buzz, that's going to go up, and it'll probably go up again this year because they're a lot stricter on it as well. So I think the concussion debate's probably a false economy a little bit. I don't think we can compare concussions from this year compared to last year or the year before.
Because I think it's diagnosed concussions. That's what
I might have
you're
next
seeing
week
more of.
off. Whenever I put an argument or say something worthwhile, you two are slamming them down.
This is the only time I haven't agreed, except for your Josh Morris, Josh Adakar ahead of Brett Morris. We've been in agreement mostly this podcast, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, largely. Started off strong. We've dipped a little bit now. So,
Have we dipped a little?
hey, well, in cohesion, you know, we might need a mid-season catch-up, just a bonding session, us three.
Yeah.
Stambuli.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Mick-
if you had a column lead, we could go to lunch.
You're telling me.
Hey,
You got one for me?
mate, I must admit I'm scratching around myself this week.
I've got a fair
Really?
bit. Just need a lead.
Oh, okay. Listen, do you think we're going to see some closer scores this weekend with the games that you see in front of us? Do you think last week was a little bit of an anomaly because you had a lot of those top-ranked teams?
Yeah, it was all the top 8 sides from last year played all the top 8 sides, or the non-top 8 sides.
Yes,
So
yeah.
I don't know when you ever see that happening on the one weekend. So
I'll just go through it. Interrupt. Warriors, Seagulls, close.
I've
Agree?
gone Manly.
Yeah, well, it's close. Panthers, Raiders, close.
Yep.
Titans, Knights, should be close.
Yep.
Should be close.
Bulldogs, Storm.
No.
I think Bulldogs will play well, but it'll probably be 13 plus. Roosters, Sharks, close.
Yep.
West Tigers, Cowboys, close.
Yep.
Eels, Dragons, close.
Yep. Buzzy, I'm with you.
I'm with you too.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. How long's it taken me? What time did we start?
Is this our third year? Well, how long have we been doing this for?
Yeah,
Hey?
unbelievable. Yeah, no,
I can't wait to critique your performance next week on the ABC.
Which game are you looking at, Buzz? What are you thinking? What do you got?
Well, he's on every game, so it won't be too hard to pick one. Definitely won't be. When are you on, Mick?
Tonight.
Send me your roster and I'll let you know
Send me your
prior.
roster.
No
Send me your
worries.
roster.
I will. No worries. What about Mobs is looking refreshed?
Oh, mate, how good are you looking?
Just a couple
Hey?
of days of not carrying.
Couple of days away from us.
Not carrying some blokes, and I feel a lot better. No, had a nice day at the Easter show with the kids.
I
with
saw you
cousins.
at Bank West.
Yep, Bank West watching the Eels and
Western
the
Sydney
Tigers.
Stadium, Buzz.
Oh, sorry, no, we're at Stadium Australia. What am I talking about? It was 30,000
Oh, Stadium
there.
Australia, was it? Yeah,
Yep,
right.
which was nice. So I think they do that well, the Easter Monday game.
Oh, yeah,
They
get
do.
a few
yeah,
in.
it's a good event.
Yeah.
And you know what? If the West Tigers were a better side
Yeah,
and competitive, there'd be 40,000 there
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
each week.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what was good, between that and the Easter show, seeing people out and about and life getting back to normal. It was unbelievable. Having that many people in close quarters and no one with, well, if you want to, put the mask on, but no one freaking out about it or being paranoid about not having masks on. People just, it was nice. It was very good. So hopefully we get a bit more of that and some big crowds this weekend because Eels Dragons are hoping for 25 plus. Tigers at Leichhardt on Sunday. Hopefully we get I know it's only the Cowboys, but hopefully we get a big crowd for Tommy Rodonicus out there. Mick, you just had some breaking news come through on your phone. Did you want to share that with us?
Yeah,
on that
so
game?
the Tigers are going to retire the number 7 jersey across all 4 grades on Sunday, which is a nice touch. They obviously have the NRL there, the New South Wales Cup jersey flag, and the Women's Premiership as well.
Fantastic. Good on them. What a lovely touch.
We'll be back with our Thursday night footy orders right after this. All right, on to dinners. What do you got, Buzzy?
I don't want to do an action replay, but I'm going Chinese. Salt and pepper prawns, snow peas and broccoli, sizzling fillet steak, steamed rice. Hey? I'm not going to use my phone. That was just a silly thing I did a couple of weeks ago.
It's still one of the funniest things I've seen. Though.
Why?
I enjoyed it.
I nearly forgot the spring rolls. Spring rolls.
What's everyone else eating?
I'm going serious. How dare you?
All right, Mick,
What about that laugh of his? Gibra, you are a massive... Did you laugh like that on the national radio?
Oh, if someone says something funny.
So no.
That wouldn't be too often. Yeah.
Now, what leftovers are you having tonight?
No
Mick, given-
leftovers. We're having a very early dinner because I'll get out to the footy tonight. So it's just grilled chicken. Very boring, but nice.
How do you
Clara
spice
does-
it up?
Clara's
Mixed
doing
herbs?
it. No, Clara's doing it. The wife is doing it. So she
Right.
she's a good cook.
So you've just said she's very boring food, is it?
No,
My
it's
wife.
very... No, she's a
No?
good... No,
What
I'm
will
not
you
getting
have
in
it
trouble
with?
here. Veggies. Roasted pumpkin.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Bit of gravy?
No gravy, no.
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 The chicken's very bland without spices or gravy.
No, it's not usually dry. It's okay. So it should be good.
You
Lots of
should
lemon.
get your lovely missus to put some breadcrumbs around it and throw it in as a schnitzel.
I don't want that though.
I love schnitzel.
Our artist
What
Scott
about
Bailey
player
does,
mobs?
doesn't he?
The
Well,
rugby league director.
Given I don't have the time constraints of work at the moment, I'm going to go home and we're putting on a barbie tonight. So we've got some
Oh, yeah.
friends up for a couple of days. So, yep. get
What
some
cut
sna-
of meat, mate?
Well, the kids love their snags, and there's going to be a lot. There's going to be about 15 people. So
Is there?
Yeah,
15?
Yeah.
How
you
you
get-
cope
did you-
under pressure like that?
Mate, please, just
What sort of... You got a Weber or you got a...
Hey?
Do you
No.
use a Weber? Or?
No, we got the full on big barbecue out
Oh,
there,
do you?
mate. So yeah,
Did you get a start, Buzz? Where was our invite?
I've never, ever been invited
That's unbelievable.
to Mobs' house.
Mate,
Never.
there's 9 kids under 10. So if you guys want to come round,
I'm
be my
busy,
guest.
but Buzz is not doing anything.
I've had you down in my home.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
No, never been
I
to the
thought you
Rothfield
came
house.
to that pool party we had many years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
invite must have got lost
That's
in the
right.
mail.
Well, that's when Bulldog got pushed into the pool and he had his mobile on him.
Oh,
And you should have seen the blow up.
who pushed him? Are we allowed
I
to
think
name
our
names?
director of art, Scott Bailey, did it. Scott Boo Bailey might have nudged him in. Oh, you should have seen the scene.
Are we due for another one, Buzzy?
Oh, well, I'll put a turn on later this year, yeah.
And we know Bulldog wouldn't shout if a shark bit him, so
Nah.
putting out for another fun. Oh, that'd have just come through the company, wouldn't
Yeah,
it? He wouldn't
I
have paid
don't
that
know.
himself.
He'd expense that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so barbecue and into watch the footy. I might just flick on ABC and have a listen to Mick as well and
Why not?
see how we're going. So,
No, I look forward to this next week.
You got a lot of homework to do, Buzz.
What?
You got to do your wingers.
Yeah,
You got to do a Sharks report.
that's all right.
You got to do a report on me as well, a critique on me as well.
Yeah, well, I cannot wait for this critique.
I think that's a passion project.
I'm
Sure, mate. He's very
tape
excited.
a bit of it too and speak to our producers to get it.
It's copyright.
Yeah.
Righto, let's wrap it up, guys. Another good session.
On you guys.
I'll be back in next week on another time on my week off. So
Enjoy your break, Mobsy.
yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
boys. And we'll do it all again next week on the Daily Telegraph NRL podcast.
Cheers, mate.